Mark Simpson's world shatters as he watches his 8-year-old son being fed to an ice worm by Packled slavers. The security feed plays across the bridge monitors of mining outpost DS-217, showing the horror in crisp detail that will haunt him forever. The Packleds, hulking aliens with mottled gray skin and pronounced bony ridges across their faces, have breached the secondary defenses. Their raid caught the outpost during what should have been a joyful reunion between Mark and Tommy, their first meeting since Mark took the security chief position 6 months ago. Standing rigid at his command station, the former Navy SEAL tracks the aliens' movements through the outer tunnels. Their leader, Willa, distinctive with her collection of battle scars, directs her soldiers with practiced efficiency. The remaining colonists huddle together, bound and terrified, as Tommy is separated from the group. The massive hole in the ice looms ahead, home to one of Europa's most feared predators. The ice worm's lair can swallow entire transport vehicles, and now they mean to feed it a child. Mark's child. Emergency protocols have sealed the blast doors, trapping Mark on the bridge. His security training battles with parental instinct as he slams commands into his console, searching for any override. Nothing responds. The comm system crackles with the Packleds' guttural laughter as they broadcast their message of terror across all human frequencies. Tommy disappears into the darkness. The ice worm strikes. Mark's fingers fly across his console, transmitting a quantum-encrypted distress signal to Earth Command. He includes everything: the full footage, ship identification markers, and a crystal-clear image of Willa's scarred face. The diplomatic restrictions that once protected Packled settlements now mean nothing to him. The remaining crew gather around their security chief as he accesses the classified files. Coordinates of known Packled settlements fill his screen, information he'd been ordered to ignore in the name of peace. But peace died with Tommy. As the Packled ship prepares to depart with their surviving captives, Mark speaks words that will reshape humanity's place in the galaxy. Earth Command, this is Security Chief Mark Simpson. The Packleds have murdered my son. Request immediate authorization for unrestricted military response. He pauses, steel entering his voice. It's time to show them what happens when you make humanity your enemy. The crew stands silent, witnesses to the moment when Earth's policy of tolerance toward alien aggression ends. The Packleds wanted to send a message of terror. They'll soon learn they've instead awakened something far worse: humanity's capacity for righteous vengeance. Mark's fingers lingered on the console for a moment after transmitting his message to Earth Command. The crew's eyes fixed on him, waiting. He straightened, accessed his command interface, and entered a series of encrypted sequences. Initiating Override Protocol Alpha 7, he announced, his voice steady despite the rage burning inside him. The blast doors slid open with a hydraulic hiss. Lieutenant Chen, activate emergency broadcast on all Packled frequencies. Chen nodded, patching through the signal. Ready, sir. Attention Packled vessel, Mark transmitted. This is DS-217. Our primary reactor coolant system has been compromised. Radiation containment failing. Estimated critical breach in 3 minutes. The effect was immediate. Through the outpost's external cameras, they watched the Packled raiders sprint back to their ship, shoving and stumbling over each other in their panic. Their captives lay abandoned on the ice, still bound. Security teams Alpha and Beta, full tactical gear. We're going out there, Mark ordered, already moving. He grabbed his thermal suit from the emergency locker, checking the seals with practiced efficiency. Dr. James Henry intercepted him at the airlock. The xenobiologist's normally calm demeanor was charged with urgent energy. Mark, wait, Tommy might still be alive. Mark's hands froze on his suit fasteners. What? The ice worms, they're biological marvels. They don't digest prey immediately. They store living victims in specialized chambers, sometimes for days. It's how they survive the long winters. Hope surged through Mark's chest, but his training kept him focused. How long? 7 to 2 hours maximum, but we'd need to act fast. I have experimental biosignature tracking equipment in my lab. We could get it, Mark cut in. Assemble your team. Lieutenant Chen, coordinate with Dr. Henry. I'm leading the rescue operation for the abandoned colonists first. The airlock cycled, releasing Mark and his security team onto Europa's icy surface. Wind-driven ice crystals stung any exposed skin as they moved quickly to the bound colonists. 15 survivors, including 3 children. Mark's throat tightened as he helped a girl about Tommy's age to her feet. Back inside, Dr. Henry's team had already begun preparations. Their biosignature equipment hummed, calibrating to detect human life signs through meters of ice. Mark's quantum communicator chimed a direct channel from Earth Command. Admiral William Harrison's holographic form materialized. The old SEAL commander's face was grim. Mark, the 7th Fleet is mobilizing. Captain Steele and the S Retribution are inbound, but we're picking up Packled communications. They're coming back in force. Mark nodded, already moving to the outpost's main control center. Permission to activate the defense grid, sir. Granted. Authorization code, Obsidian Shadow. Those mining equipment installations are state-of-the-art weapon systems. Use them. Mark accessed the classified controls, watching as innocent-looking drilling platforms transformed into plasma defense turrets. Industrial ice cutters revealed themselves as railgun emplacements. A ping from Dr. Henry's equipment drew Mark's attention. The xenobiologist pointed to his display, showing a faint but steady human biosignature deep within the iceworm's lair. It's child-sized, Mark, and it's moving. Inside the iceworm's digestive chamber, Tommy Simpson blinked in the blue-green glow of bioluminescent bacteria. His small hands pressed against the organic walls, noting how they pulsed and shifted under pressure. 3 Packled bodies lay motionless in nearby chambers. Tommy remembered his father's lesson: stay calm, analyze your surroundings, look for patterns. He pressed harder on a section of wall that felt different. The tissue contracted, then relaxed. Tommy allowed himself a small smile. There was always a way out. Dad had taught him that. Above, Mark watched the outpost's long-range sensors track multiple Packled signatures approaching. Supreme Commander Gortak's flagship led the formation, with Willa's vessel close behind. Dr. Henry, Mark called out, checking his weapon. How long until your team is ready to enter that lair? The xenobiologist hefted his equipment. 10 minutes. You've got 5. My son is down there, and I mean to get him back before those Packled bastards reach our doorstep. The outpost's warning klaxons fell silent as a sleek shape emerged from Europa's orbital darkness. The S Retribution materialized like a phantom, its stealth systems creating a visual distortion that made it nearly impossible to track with the naked eye. Receiving encrypted transmission from Captain Steele, Lieutenant Chen announced, her fingers dancing across the communications console. Mark activated the quantum link while checking his tactical gear. This is DS-217. Go ahead, Retribution. Chief Simpson, we're deploying our defense grid now. Camouflaged satellites are positioning themselves in a 3-dimensional perimeter around your location. They'll register as natural ice debris to Packled sensors. Acknowledged, Captain. We're initiating rescue operations. Dr. Henry's voice cut through the command center. Mark, we've got it a clear biosignature. Child-sized, showing regular movement patterns consistent with conscious activity. Mark crossed to the biosensor display, studying the pulsing indicator deep beneath the surface. The reading originated from a section of the ice worm's digestive tract that twisted through Europa's crust like a frozen labyrinth. The tunnels extend beyond our scanning range, Dr. Henry said, adjusting the equipment settings. We're picking up multiple branching pathways, some diving kilometers deep. Jack Morrison, the station's chief mining engineer, spread a holographic map across the tactical table. These formations follow predictable patterns. See these stress lines? The ice worm's been using natural fissures, expanding them over time. We can use that to predict the most likely path to Tommy's location. Mark activated his suit's environmental systems. How effective are the sonic repulsors? They'll keep the creature at bay, Dr. Henry replied, distributing the devices to the rescue team. But we've never tested them at these depths. The rescue team descended through the initial breach, their lights illuminating walls of ancient ice. Frozen bubbles trapped millennia ago created ghostly patterns that stretched into darkness. Their boots crunched on fragments of metal remnants of previous Packled incursions. Admiral Harrison needs to see this, Mark said, scanning the debris with his suit's cameras. The wreckage told a story of systematic raiding, each piece adding to a pattern of Packled tactical capabilities. He transmitted the data through his quantum uplink. A flash of movement caught his attention. Through layers of translucent ice, a rhythmic blue-green pulse emanated from deep within the tunnel system. That's not natural, Dr. Henry said, adjusting his sensors. The bioluminescent bacteria shouldn't be displaying that pattern. Mark's heart raced as he recognized the sequence. It's Morse code. That's my boy. The moment of pride was cut short by Lieutenant Chen's voice over the comm. Chief, long-range sensors are tracking multiple Packled signatures. 3 heavy assault carriers led by Willa's command ship. They'll reach weapons range in 57 minutes. Captain Steele's transmission followed immediately. We can engage them, Mark. But we'll lose the element of surprise for the broader operation. Mark accessed his tactical display, studying the approaching Packled formation. The mining outpost's maintenance supervisor, Sarah Chen, appeared on his comm screen. Sir, the plasma drills are ready. We've adjusted their vectors as requested. Execute on my mark, Mark ordered, watching the Packled fleets approach vector. Trigger the drills in sequence, starting with sectors 7 through 12. Make it look natural. Streams of superheated plasma erupted from the surface, indistinguishable from Europa's natural cryovolcanic activity. The Packled fleet adjusted course, exactly as predicted. Deep below, the ice worm's tunnels trembled. The creature's massive body shifted, responding to the sonic repulsors with increasing agitation. The chamber walls around Tommy began to contract more frequently, the bioluminescent bacteria intensifying their glow. The worm's biosignatures are becoming erratic, Dr. Henry warned, studying his readings. These sonic frequencies are affecting its nervous system more than we anticipated. Mark led the team deeper, following Tommy's signal. They had less than 2 hours to reach him before the chambers underwent another digestive cycle. Above, the Packled fleet continued their approach, unaware they were being drawn into a carefully constructed trap. The next phase would require perfect timing and not a second of hesitation. The ice shuddered as Mark's team pressed deeper into the winding tunnels. Their sonic repulsors emitted a steady pulse, but something wasn't right. The ice worm's reactions grew increasingly erratic, its massive body thrashing against the ancient ice walls with mounting intensity. The creature's neural patterns are spiking, Dr. Henry called out, eyes fixed on his scanner. These frequencies are having a stronger effect than our models predicted. A violent tremor knocked Morrison off balance. His light beam swept across a dark recess, revealing a horrifying sight. Perfectly preserved bodies lay suspended in translucent chambers, their features frozen in final moments of terror. Mark, Morrison's voice cracked. You need to see this. The chamber network stretched beyond their light's reach. Men, women, children, dozens of victims from multiple Packled raids. Mark activated his suit's recording systems, documenting the grim tableau while transmitting the feed to Earth Command. Some of these bodies date back years, Dr. Henry said, checking his instruments. The ice worm's digestive enzymes must preserve organic matter. A rhythmic flash caught Mark's attention. Tommy's signal had intensified. The bioluminescent bacteria pulsed with newfound brightness, creating distinct patterns through the ice. His signal's stronger, Chen reported over the comm, getting unusual electrical readings from that section. Through the translucent walls, Mark glimpsed movement. Tommy had cannibalized components from the dead Packled Raiders, creating an improvised electrical device. Each pulse sent waves of blue-green light rippling through the chamber network. The ice worm convulsed violently, its internal chambers shifting and realigning. The tunnel walls groaned under immense pressure. "Chief," Chen's urgent voice cut through. Packled Fleet is adjusting course to avoid the plasma vents. They're grouping up tight exactly where Captain Steele wants them. The S-Retribution maintained its phantom presence above, its newly installed magnetic resonance disruptor primed for the perfect moment. Mark checked his tactical display, watching the Packled ships cluster into an ideal target formation. "Doctor." Henry's scanner emitted a sharp warning tone. "Mark, the creature's digestive cycle is accelerating. The sonic disturbance has triggered a premature sequence." "How long?" "Minutes, not hours." Mark split his team with quick-hand signals. "Morrison, take Jensen and Rodriguez. Plant sonic devices in a radial pattern, force this thing to move away from Tommy's position. Dr. Henry, you're with me." They'd barely moved when Chen's voice crackled through again. "Incoming fire." Gore-Tex ordered surface bombardment. The first impact shook the entire tunnel system. Ice crystals rained down as stress fractures spiderwebbed through the walls. Mark and Dr. Henry pushed forward, following Tommy's strengthening signal while Morrison's team branched off to deploy their sonic devices. They found Tommy in a large chamber, already helping two other young survivors out of their containment pods. His improvised electrical array had transformed the chamber into a pulsing beacon of bioluminescent light. "Dad," Tommy called out, supporting a girl who looked about his age. "Sarah's got something important, neural recordings of everything that happened." The girl nodded weakly, pointing to a small implant behind her ear. "My parents' design. It's been recording since they took me." Another bombardment impact rocked the chamber. Mark's comm crackled with Captain Steele's encrypted transmission. "Chief, the worm's heading toward the surface, if we time this right." Mark studied his tactical display, watching the massive creature's trajectory. The Packled Fleet maintained their tight formation, still unaware of the Retribution's presence. Years of training crystallized into a single moment of tactical clarity. "Morrison, status." "Sonic network active, sir. This thing's moving exactly where we want it." Mark activated his command frequency. "All teams, prepare for coordinated ascent." Captain Steele, synchronize MRD deployment with emergence point the Tasven. Chen, reroute all remaining plasma vents to Sector 12. The ice worm's bulk shifted above them, its massive form responding to the sonic pulses. They had one chance to get this exactly right. Mark gathered the survivors close, checking their environmental seals while Dr. Henry calibrated their ascent route. Through gaps in the ice, they glimpsed the Packled Fleet's running lights. Soon, those ships would face the combined fury of an Earth warship, an awakened Leviathan, and humanity's long-suppressed rage. Mark activated his rescue team's ascent thrusters, timing their rise through the tunnel system with the ice worm's final approach to the surface. The creature's bioluminescent chambers cast an eerie glow through the surrounding ice as it pushed upward, drawn by Morrison's carefully placed sonic network. Above, the Retribution's stealth systems created a ghostly distortion in Europa's thin atmosphere, its weapons primed for the perfect moment. Sarah's neural implant pulsed softly, still recording. The data it contained would help end the Packled threat, but first, they had to survive the next few minutes. Mark checked his tactical display one final time as they climbed through the disintegrating tunnel system. The ice worm's massive head pressed against the surface layer, preparing to breach directly beneath the clustered Packled ships. Captain Steele's voice came through Mark's comm. "MRD charging. Awaiting your signal, Chief." "Execute MRD on my mark," Mark transmitted, guiding his group through a narrow ice passage. The tunnel walls shuddered as another Packard bombardment struck the surface. Through gaps in the crystalline structure, flashes of weapons fire illuminated the frozen chambers. A metallic glint caught Mark's eye. "Hold position," he ordered, approaching what appeared to be a sealed hatch embedded in the ice. Sarah touched her neural implant, wincing slightly. "I know this lock," she said. "They used it to store raid equipment, the access code sequence." Her implant pulsed, projecting a holographic interface. Mark's fingers flew across the controls, matching the pattern from Sarah's recorded data. The hatch slid open with a hydraulic hiss, revealing racks of emergency gear. "Dr. Henry, get those pressure suits," Mark ordered, transmitting data from an exposed computer terminal to Earth Command. "Admiral Harrison needs to see these staging coordinates." They sealed the children into protective gear just as Morrison's voice crackled through the comm. "Chief, Sonic Network's driving it crazy. This thing's heading up fast." The tunnel network groaned under increasing pressure. Above them, the Packard fleet descended through Europa's thin atmosphere, their ships running lights casting red shadows through the ice layer. "Retribution actual," Captain Steele's encrypted transmission cut through. "Thermal arrays engaged. Precise structural weakening in progress." Mark studied his tactical display, noting the junction ahead. Two paths diverged, one leading directly to the surface access point, another twisting through DS-217's maintenance shafts. The iceworm's massive body surged upward, its bioluminescent chambers pulsing with agitated patterns. The creature's movement created spreading fissures through Europa's crust. "Maintenance route," Mark decided, helping Sarah through the narrow access hatch. "Dr. Henry, take point with Tommy. Morrison, status." "Ice structures destabilizing, sir. Massive cavity forming under the Packard formation." Tommy supported Sarah's friend as they navigated the cramped maintenance shaft. Despite his exhaustion, the boy's movements remained precise, focused. A new signal appeared on Mark's tactical display, the S-Thermopylae leading Harrison's 7th Fleet into position behind Europa's magnetic field. The pieces were in place. The iceworm's ascent reached critical velocity. Its enormous bulk smashed through layers of ancient ice, drawn inexorably upward by Morrison's sonic network. The maintenance shaft vibrated violently as the creature passed nearby, forcing Mark's team to brace against the walls. 30 seconds to breach," Captain Steele transmitted. "MRD capacitors at full charge." Through viewport panels in the maintenance shaft, Mark watched the iceworm's final surge toward the surface. Its massive head punctured Europa's crust directly beneath Commander Willa's vessel, sending crystalline shards flying into space. "Now!" Steele's command rang through the comm. The Retribution's stealth field dissolved as its magnetic resonance disruptor activated. Waves of focused energy struck the Packard fleet's hulls, shattering their crystalline plating into fragments. Mark's team emerged into DS-217's main level as chaos erupted above. The mining outpost's defense grid engaged, plasma beams providing cover fire as they sprinted toward the central bunker. "Admiral Harrison to all units," a new transmission cut through. "Operation Righteous Response is go. Strike teams deploying to designated coordinates." Tommy helped guide the younger children into the bunker's safety, his actions displaying the same ingenuity that had kept him alive in the iceworm's digestive tract. Through the bunker's armored viewport, they watched the space battle unfold. Commander Willa's flagship listed badly, its hull breaking apart under the MRD's continued assault. Emergency beacons activated across the Packard fleet as Supreme Commander Gortak's recall order reached their ships. "Hostile forces attempting withdrawal," Captain Steele reported. "Moving to intercept." Mark accessed the tactical network, observing Harrison's forces moving to cut off the Packard's escape vectors. The intelligence they'd recovered would ensure none of the raiders' staging areas remained hidden. The iceworm's massive form coiled through the shattered surface ice, its bioluminescent chambers casting an otherworldly glow across the battlefield. Above, the Seventh Fleet emerged from behind Europa's magnetic field, weapons charged. Harrison to all units. Commence Phase 2. Commence Phase 3, Admiral Harrison's voice echoed through the command channel. All units, execute coordinated strikes on designated Packard staging areas. The Seventh Fleet's ships emerged from Europa's magnetic shadow, their weapon systems painting targeting solutions across the scattered Packard formation. Mark watched through DS-217's armored viewport as the S Thermopylae's main batteries opened fire, cutting through the crystalline hulls of 3 Packard support vessels. "Medical team en route to your position," Captain Steele transmitted, preparing for immediate evacuation of survivors. Tommy helped Sarah sit against the bunker wall while Dr. Henry examined her neural implant. The device's soft blue pulse reflected off the reinforced windows as another wave of explosions lit up Europa's thin atmosphere. "The recordings are intact," Dr. Henry confirmed, checking his scanner. "Years of intelligence on Packard operations, staging areas, processing facilities, everything we need." The medical team arrived within minutes, their efficiency a stark contrast to the chaos visible outside. As they transferred the rescued children to stretchers, Mark received an encrypted transmission from Earth Command. "Chief Simpson," Admiral Harrison's holographic form materialized in Mark's tactical display. "Your expertise with the Europa operation has earned you a new assignment. We're forming specialized strike teams to target Packard slave processing facilities. Interested in commanding one?" Mark watched Tommy being loaded onto a medical transport. "Parameters: full operational autonomy, hand-picked team. Priority target is a major facility we've located in Saturn's rings. Intelligence suggests thousands of captives. Designation: Task Force Worm. Seems appropriate given recent events." Through the viewport, Mark observed the Packard fleet's desperate attempts to break formation. The magnetic resonance disruptor had shattered their tactical cohesion, turning their retreat into a rout. Commander Willa's flagship spun helplessly, venting atmosphere from multiple hull breaches. "I'll take it," Mark transmitted. "But first I need to ensure proper medical care for the survivors." "Already arranged. Report to the S Retribution once they're secured." Steele's being promoted to Rear Admiral. He'll command the battle group securing the Jupiter-Saturn corridor. The medical transport lifted off, carrying Tommy and the other survivors toward the Retribution's waiting medical bay. "Doctor." Henry approached Mark, holding up his data tablet. "Chief, Tommy's exposure to the iceworm's digestive chamber yielded something interesting. The bioluminescent bacteria in his system, it's unlike anything we've seen. With further study, it could revolutionize deep space navigation." "Forward your findings to Earth Command," Mark ordered, "but keep Tommy's involvement classified for now." The bunker's tactical display updated with new intelligence feeds. Sarah's neural recordings had already identified dozens of hidden Packard facilities throughout the solar system. Mark studied the Saturn ring facility schematics, noting defensive positions and potential entry points. "Dr. Henry, I need you to develop something. A biological scanner that can detect their stasis pods. If we can identify transport signatures, using the digestive chamber's preservation properties as a baseline, already started the calculations." A priority alert flashed across Mark's display. Supreme Commander Gortak's forces were consolidating around Titan, but internal communications suggested growing discord. Commander Krau's faction openly questioned traditional raiding practices. The medical transport docked with the Retribution as Mark finalized his team roster. Former Special Operations personnel, each selected for specific expertise. Their first mission would require precision. The Saturn facility's location within the rings made conventional assault tactics impossible. Through the command channel, Mark heard Admiral Harrison initiating Protocol Europa. Automated defense platforms were already deploying throughout the solar system, creating a network of sensors and weapon systems designed to end the Packard threat permanently. "Chief," Captain Steele's transmission cut through. "Your team's ready for briefing in the Retribution's tactical center. Dr. Henry's prototype scanner is being installed now." Mark took a final look at Europa's ravaged surface. The ice worm had returned to its depths, leaving behind a battlefield strewn with shattered Packard vessels. Their reign of terror was ending, but the real work was just beginning. "Acknowledged," Mark transmitted, heading toward the waiting shuttle. "Begin mission briefing sequence for Operation Saturn's Ring." The shuttle's engines ignited, carrying him toward the Retribution and the next phase of humanity's counteroffensive. In the medical bay, Tommy's bioluminescent bacteria continued its subtle glow, a reminder that victory often reveals unexpected paths forward. Mark reviewed tactical data on his command display as the Retribution approached Titan. Tommy's recovery in the medical bay had yielded unexpected advantages. The bioluminescent bacteria in his system pulsed in distinct patterns when exposed to Packard energy signatures. "Dr. Henry's latest scans confirm it," Captain Steele reported through the encrypted channel. "The bacterial response creates a detection grid more accurate than our conventional sensors." The tactical center hummed with activity as Mark's hand-picked team processed intelligence from Lieutenant Santos. Holographic schematics revealed Titan's subsurface maintenance network, a maze of tunnels and access points that would allow Task Force Worm to bypass Packard defenses. Thermopylae moving into position," Admiral Harrison's voice cut through the command channel. "Beginning primary assault sequence." Through the viewports, Mark watched the 7th Fleet emerge from stealth positions. The Thermopylae's weapons batteries opened fire, drawing immediate response from Packard defense platforms. The Retribution's stealth systems engaged as it maneuvered toward the insertion point. "Energy signature detected," Tommy's voice transmitted from the science lab. "Dr. Henry, northwestern quadrant. That reading matches the pattern we observed in the bacterial cultures." Mark's tactical display updated with the new data. "Confirmed hidden facility," he transmitted to his team. "Adjust insertion vector accordingly." The Retribution's hull vibrated as its magnetic resonance disruptors activated, targeting key Packard installations. Crystalline structures shattered under the focused energy waves, creating gaps in the defensive grid. "Multiple contacts," Lieutenant Santos reported. "Internal weapons fire detected in Packard facilities. They're fighting each other." Mark led Task Force Worm through the first maintenance tunnel, their advanced combat suits compensating for Titan's low gravity. The team's motion sensors detected Packard patrols engaged in firefights ahead, Gortak's loyalists clashing with Krau's rebels. "Command center located," Santos transmitted. "Commander Willa present. She's accessing the central data cores." The team moved swiftly through the access tunnels, bypassing the chaos of internal fighting. Mark's tactical display tracked the bacterial detection grid's readings, revealing hidden security systems moments before they activated. They breached the command center's outer security zone as Willa initiated emergency data purge protocols. Her voice carried through the facility's internal communications. "Delete everything. Supreme Commander Gortak orders complete data destruction. Leave nothing for the humans." Mark's team deployed sonic disruptors, neutralizing the command center's crystalline defenses. Through the breach, they observed Willa interfacing directly with the facility's computer core. She snarled upon seeing Mark. "The Europa operation was perfectly planned. That child was specifically chosen, a calculated target to demoralize your species." The admission recorded automatically in their combat systems as Mark's team secured the command center. Outside, the Europan protocol weapon activated across the battlefield. Packard ships attempting to flee found their crystalline hulls tracked and disabled by the combined sonic bacterial technology. Dr. Mitchell reports priority intel. Steele's transmission cut through. Titan Mining Consortium CEO Marcus Thuron identified as collaborator. Security teams moving to apprehend. The facility's data cores revealed coordinates leading deeper beneath Titan's surface. Task Force Worm advanced through sealed tunnels, discovering vast chambers filled with stasis pods. Dr. Elena Rodriguez emerged from cryostasis as medical teams arrived, her research notes on Packled biology intact despite her captivity. Supreme Commander Gortak's vessel detected, Admiral Harrison transmitted. Stealth technology previously unknown, heading toward Kuiper Belt coordinates. Mark accessed the recovered data, revealing schematics of a hidden Packled installation far beyond Saturn's orbit. The facility's power signatures exceeded anything previously encountered in Packled territory. Task Force Worm, prepare for immediate redeployment, Harrison ordered. The Retribution will pursue Gortak's vessel. Dr. Henry, ensure the bacterial detection grid is fully integrated with ship systems. Tommy's voice came through the command channel. Chief, the bacteria's reaction to these power signatures, it's not like anything we've seen before. Whatever's out there in the Kuiper Belt, it's operating on completely different principles than standard Packled tech. Mark studied the tactical data as his team returned to the Retribution. The recovered files hinted at technological capabilities that defied conventional understanding of Packled advancement. As the ship broke orbit from Titan, multiple sensor arrays tracked Gortak's trajectory into the outer solar system. The Retribution's engines pulsed as it accelerated through the outer reaches of Saturn's influence. Mark reviewed the sensor data streaming across his tactical display, tracking Gortak's vessel as it cut through the darkness toward the Kuiper Belt. Energy signature analysis complete, Tommy transmitted from the science lab. The bacterial resonance patterns indicate technology far more advanced than anything in the Packled database. Confirmed, Dr. Henry added. These power readings exceed known Packled capabilities by several orders of magnitude. The pursuit led them deeper into the belt, where asteroids crowded the void between worlds. Captain Steele skillfully maneuvered the Retribution through the debris field, maintaining sensor lock on Gortak's ship despite its sophisticated stealth systems. Contact bearing 03 Mark 12, Lieutenant Santos reported. Massive structure detected inside hollow asteroid. Gortak's vessel is docking. Mark assembled his strike team in the deployment bay. Their combat suits incorporated Dr. Henry's latest bacterial sensors, allowing them to track energy signatures in real time. Through the bay's viewport, Mark observed the asteroid's strange surface too smooth in places to be natural. Team 2, in position, Santos transmitted as her squad prepared for the parallel insertion. Ready to breach on your mark. The Retribution stealth systems engaged as it took up position to blockade the asteroid's access points. Mark led his team through the airlock, their magnetic boots connecting with the structure's metallic surface. Inside, they encountered architecture unlike anything in Packled territory, flowing lines and seamless transitions that spoke of technologies far beyond human understanding. Multiple power signatures detected, Tommy's voice came through the tactical net. The bacteria's response patterns match what we saw in the recovered data cores. The facility stretched before them, a vast automated factory filled with dormant assembly lines and strange machinery. Mark's team advanced through the corridors, their weapons ready as they approached the central control chamber. Ancient data terminals illuminated automatically as they passed, displaying information in unfamiliar scripts. Chief, Dr. Henry transmitted, these systems predate Packled civilization by centuries. They've been reverse engineering this technology. The central chamber's doors parted to reveal Supreme Commander Gortak standing at a curved control interface. His crystalline armor reflected the pulsing lights of awakening defense systems. Intruder alert, Gortak commanded in his native tongue. Activate all security protocols. Ancient weapon emplacements emerged from the walls as Mark's team took cover. Their sonic disruptors proved effective against the facility's crystalline components, shattering defensive barriers and automated sentries. The bacteria, Tommy's excited voice cut through the tactical channel. It's synchronizing with the power cores. Dr. Henry, are you seeing this? Affirmative. Chief, we can use this resonance to trigger a systematic overload, sending modified disruptor frequencies now. Mark's team planted the recalibrated devices at key junctions while engaging Gortak's guards. Santos's squad breached the data core, their specialized equipment extracting centuries of packled historical records. Files secured, Santos reported, transmitting to Earth Command. Sir, this goes beyond slave trading. They've been manipulating multiple species, playing them against each other. Gortak stood at the power center's main console, his fingers dancing across alien controls. You don't understand, he snarled at Mark. Our entire civilization depends on maintaining this secret. Without this technology, we are nothing. Mark raised his weapon. You should have thought of that before feeding my son to an ice worm. The modified disruptors activated, their frequencies matching the bacterial resonance. Ancient systems began to fail as Mark subdued Gortak with a precise series of strikes. The facility's power cores pulsed erratically, their containment fields fluctuating. All teams, immediate extraction, Steele ordered, preparing magnetic resonance disruptors for final strike. Mark's team dragged their prisoner toward the extraction point as the ancient factory began to collapse around them. Through his tactical display, he watched the Retribution's weapons power up, ready to ensure no trace of the advanced technology survived. The hollow asteroid crumbled behind them as they docked with the Retribution. In the ship's detention center, Gortak watched through reinforced windows as his empire's greatest secret disappeared into the void. The facility's destruction marked the beginning of the end for Packled dominance in the solar system. Lieutenant Santos consolidated the recovered data as they set course for Earth. The files painted a clear picture of centuries of manipulation and deceit, all built upon stolen alien technology. More importantly, they provided coordinates for every hidden Packled facility in known space. Tommy's bacterial readings have stabilized, Dr. Henry reported from the medical bay. The resonance patterns are permanent. He'll be able to detect similar energy signatures in the future. The Retribution accelerated toward the inner solar system, carrying evidence that would reshape the balance of power throughout human space. In his quarters, Mark reviewed the preliminary reports from Admiral Harrison. Commander Krau's reform faction had already begun negotiations with Earth Command, seeking a peaceful transition of power. Chief, Steele's voice came through the intercom, we're receiving new intelligence from the Europa Research Station. Dr. Henry's team has made progress integrating the bacterial detection grid with our defense networks. I think you and Tommy will want to see this.